Have you ever lost a game and thought, how did I just get destroyed by that guy? You had the same cards, the same levels, but somehow they completely outplayed you. The truth is, winning in Clash Royale isn't about having a good deck. It's about knowing how to play smarter than everyone else. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down the 10 must-know pro tips that will instantly make you a better player. The same fundamentals that top ladder players and pros use in every single match. We're talking about key concepts like elixir mastery, lane control, card counting, perfect placements, and tempo control. The real secrets behind why the best players win even with lower level cards or against a hard counter. And trust me, once you understand these, you'll start seeing Clash Royale completely differently. So stick around till the end of this video, because by the time this video is over, you'll have everything you need to beat any player, no matter their level, deck, or skill. Let's get right into it. Coming in at number 10, we got mastering elixir management. If there's one universal truth in Clash Royale, it's this: the game is not about cards, it's about elixir. Every battle's an elixir war before a card game. You can have the best deck in the world, but if you're constantly running out of elixir, you can never control the match. Think of elixir like currency. Every drop you spend should have a purpose, offensively or defensively. Overspending an offense might get you a short-term advantage, but if you cannot defend the counter push, you've already lost the trade. What's your opponent spending? If they drop a golem or a lava hound at the back, boom, that's 8 elixir gone. That's your green light to push the opposite lane and force them into panic mode. A good player does not just react, they read the economy of the match. You should always have a rough sense of how much elixir your opponent has. That's why pros constantly glance down at their elixir bar before placing down cards. One more thing, don't let your elixir bar hit 10 and just sit there. That's wasted potential. Always cycle a cheap card like an ice spirit, skeletons, or even sometimes a building like the Tesla, just to keep your flow going, and only leak if you're running a heavy deck and don't have a cheap card to cycle. The moment you start thinking in terms of elixir trades, not just card plays, your whole game changes. You stop throwing cards out and start investing elixir for value. That's the difference between a player who wins by chance and a player who wins by control. Tip number 9. Learn how to use both lanes. Here's something that instantly makes you harder to defend: dual lane pressure. Most players tunnel vision into one lane. They see a giant coming down the left and dump everything into defending that lane. But what if you defend efficiently and pressure the opposite side? Let's say your opponent drops a golem in the back. That's 8 elixir gone and at least 10 seconds before the push even crosses the bridge. That's your moment to strike the opposite lane with the minor wall breakers or a hog plus ice spirit. Now they're forced to defend both sides. Suddenly that unstoppable golem push isn't so scary anymore. They're pretty much splitting their elixir and you're dictating the pace. This concept isn't just about damage, it's about control and tempo. You're making your opponents uncomfortable, forcing them into bad trades and keeping their elixir scattered. Dual lane pressure is also amazing in overtime. When both towers are low, keep switching lanes. Go left, go right, go left, go left, go left, go right, go left, go right, like a boxer jabbing with both hands. It keeps your opponent guessing and forces mistakes. Remember, Clash Royale is about making your opponents react, not letting them dictate the flow of the game. When you control both lanes, you control the match. And once you got that, the game starts feeling easy and you'll start winning a lot more. Tip number 8, tracking your opponent's cycle and cards. Every deck in Clash Royale is exactly 8 cards. Once you understand that, you can start predicting what's coming next. Let's say your opponent just used a log to stop your Goblin Barrel. That means they can't use it again until they play 4 more cards. That's your window to attack. Throw another barrel right before they cycle back to it. That's pretty much free damage every time. If they use a fireball and your barbs, perfect. That's your moment to drop your 3 musketeers or your minion horde, because their main counter is gone and you can build a stronger attack depending on your deck. Great players constantly track this in their head. It sounds complicated at first, but it becomes automatic. You start noticing patterns like this. They always open with an ice spirit plus hog, so that's basically 2 card cycle. They play their Tesla again, so they're back to log, so we gotta watch out. These are things that should constantly run in your head. You don't need to memorize exact sequences, just focus on key spells and win conditions. If you know when their fireball, poison, tornado, or their spells are out of cycle, you can punish confidently. This skill gives you that information advantage, and in Clash Royale, information is power. Once you can track cards, you're no longer reacting blindly, you're setting traps, and that's when you start outplaying your opponents who technically have better decks or higher levels, because you're winning with game knowledge. Tip number 7, know your win condition. Let's start with one of the biggest mind shifts ever. Every single deck has a win condition, whether it's the Hog Rider, miner, balloon, graveyard, X-bow, royal giant, or even something unpopular like the goblin drill. That card is the centerpiece of your entire deck. Your other 7 cards, they exist purely to help that one card connect to the tower. Here's where so many players go wrong. They drop random pushes. Baby Dragon on the left side, Mini Peck on the right side, then Panic Defend in the middle, hoping something sticks. That's not a plan. That's just chaos. Pros play with intent. They know exactly how they're gonna win before the card is even placed. If you're playing Hog, your job is to chip little by little and protect your cannon on defense and always have enough elixir to counter push. If you're using Graveyard, you're building a defense that turns into a deadly counterattack when you drop a Graveyard plus Poison when you have the Elixir. If you're using Royal Giant, you're waiting for the perfect rotation, maybe when their building's out of cycle or when their counter to your Royal Giant is out of cycle. That's your moment to strike. Once you know your win condition, you start asking better questions. How can I make this card connect safely? Cards are a threat to it. What trades help me cycle back to it faster? The moment you stop throwing random cards and start protecting your win condition like your king piece in chess, that's when Clash Royale starts feeling like a strategy and not luck. Tip number 6, defend cheap, counter big. This rule separates smart players from the average players. Don't overspend on defense. You don't need a 7 elixir army to stop a 4 elixir push. If you spend more on defense than they spend on attack, you're losing the value game, even if you survive the push. Let's say your opponent drops a Hog plus Ice Spirit, that's 5 elixir in total. If you just defend with cannon and skeletons, that's 4 elixir. You just got a positive trade. That means you're still cycling effectively and can instantly cycle to your next Hog push before they're even ready. Think about defense like budgeting. Your goal isn't just to survive, it's to spend less while doing it effectively. That's why pros love cheap utility cards like the skeletons, Ice Spirit, Bomber, guards, and cards like the cannon. They don't just defend, they generate value. After a good defense, don't let your surviving troops go to waste. That's your counter push starter pack with control decks. Drop a support card behind them and suddenly a 3 elixir defense turns into a 6 elixir attack. Efficiency is everything. When you master defending cheap and countering big, and pressure most of the times in Clash Royale will win you the game. Before we move on to tip number 5, make sure to like and hype the video and join the Discord group, which is linked in the description of this video, where we talk about everything. Tip number 5, learn to read their decks. This is one of the most underrated high-level skills, deck recognition. Within the first minute, your brain should already be piecing up what archetype you're facing. You see Ice Spirit, Skeletons, Musketeer, Cannon, boom, that's Hog 2.6. You see Phoenix, Goblin Cage, Flying Machine, Zappies, that's probably Fireball Bait or Royal Recruits. Witch, Baby Dragon, Barbell, it's probably Golem or Graveyard. The faster you recognize their deck, the faster you can predict their next move. That means you'll stop getting surprised by that hidden gimmick they have with their deck. Watch their first few cards carefully, both what they play and what they don't play. If they haven't used a small spell yet, keep your swarm safe. If they cycle back to a card unusually fast, they're probably running a quick cycle deck. It's just like in chess. Once you know your opponent's opening, you already know what mid-game position they want. The more decks you know, from ladder metas to off-meta control setups, the easier it becomes to play proactively instead of reactively. You'll start winning not because you're mechanically better, but because you know what's coming before it even happens. Tip number 4. Placements wins games. Tile placements. Easily one of the biggest skill gaps between casuals and pro players. Clash Royale isn't just what you play, it's where you play it. One tile, just one. That's all it takes to change the entire outcome of a defense. Place your buildings 1 tile too high and your cannon completely misses the Hog. 1 tile too low and the balloon hits your tower before targeting it. For example, tornadoing a Hog to activate King Tower, pulling both lanes with a single Tesla, spacing your troops to avoid giving fireball or poison value. Great players just don't memorize these placements, they practice them until they're automatic. If you want to seriously get good at this game, spend 15 minutes a week just practicing tile placements actively with your deck of choice. Perfect placements means more value for the exact same elixir. That's the definition of efficiency. All from moving your card just 1 tile. Tip number 3. Control the tempo. Tempo. It's the heartbeat of every match. The player who controls tempo decides how the game is being played. If your opponent wants to play slow, stacking golems or lava hounds, then speed up. Pressure them opposite lane, force them to make mistakes, and never give them time to build that dream push. If they want to play lightning fast cycle, slow it down, defend smart, and build that one strong counter push that they cannot outcycle. You control tempo through elixir management and timing. Drop your win condition right after their heavy spell. That's a tempo swing. Force them to defend on both lanes. That's tempo control. Watch any top ladder replay. Notice how the pros are always in charge of their games. That's not coincidence. They're pretty much dictating the rhythm of the match. Clash Royale is not about who reacts faster. It's about who sets the pace and the rhythm first. Play at your pace, not theirs. And suddenly the match feels like you're the one pulling the strings, which will serve you well. Tip number 2. Don't panic. Play calm. Tilt, panic, and overreacting. The 3 silent killers of ladder progress. We've all been there. You see a giant skeleton or an E-giant at the bridge and you instantly drop half your deck in panic. Suddenly you're out of elixir, your defense is messy, and you've created the perfect setup for their next counter push. The truth is, most pushes look scarier than they actually are. If you stay calm and trust your tower damage output, you'll realize how many situations don't actually need panic defenses. Before you react, breathe for half a second and think, what's the minimum I need to stop this? Can I kite this instead of fighting head on? Is it possible for me to trade towers and win in the long run? The best players play with ice in their veins. Even at 500 HP, they stay composed, knowing the opponent will overcommit, trying to finish the game off. They defend surgically one card at a time, and they counter when the opponent runs dry. Calmness is not about emotional control, it's also strategic control. Panic wastes elixir, and if you don't learn how to use elixir efficiently, you're gonna be behind. Finally, the most important tip. Tip number 1, watch replays and learn. Here's the real secret to improving faster than anyone else. Reflection. Every pro player, every single one of them watches replays after matches. Because when you're in the heat of battle, you miss things. You don't notice when you overspend defending a miner. You don't realize that you made a stupid mistake, which you could have completely avoided. But when you watch the replay, it's crystal clear. Take 5 minutes off after a loss and ask, why did I lose control of elixir? What mistakes made that push impossible to stop? Did I defend too much instead of counterattacking? You'll start noticing patterns. Once you identify those habits, you can fix them instantly. This will skyrocket your skill infinitely, which will make you a much better player. Don't just study your own games, study pro players. Watch how they defend with 2 elixir, build value trades, and always have an elixir lead or use the damage they take to build an unstoppable push. Every replay you watch saves you from repeating the same mistake 10 more times. That's the difference between playing endlessly and actually betting hands down. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you want to know how to use any Clash Royale deck style and instantly be better than 99% of the player base, click on this video. Bye.